Thank you all for being here and choosing to spend part of your lunchtime with us. I have to give you my disclaimers that this is not about what I'm doing, it's about what my faculty and our students are doing. I'm the department chair, so I pay the bills and help lead the process and that kind of thing. I would like to ask if we could hold questions to the end. We only have like a 30-minute segment. And my email address is up there, and if you'd like to go ahead and open up an email to me on your phone or your iPad and just be kind of typing in questions that you may have as you go, if we do have time at the end, we can address those, but if not and you don't get your questions answered, you can just press send, and then it'll come to me and I'll get those answered sometime today, or at least before I leave this conference. Does that sound like a good deal? Okay, I want to tell you just very quickly about our institution, Texas State, formerly known as Southwest Texas State University, home to Lyndon Baines Johnson. He's our most famous alumni. We're a pretty large institution, 35,000 plus students in the central Texas Hill Country between Austin and San Antonio. Come and visit us sometime, it's beautiful. We are a Hispanic-serving institution, and we are the largest preparer of teachers, university-based preparer of teachers in the state, and we're the fourth largest in the nation. That's according to AACTE data. We are the largest preparer of Hispanic teachers in the nation. That's what our data tell us. So we're big. We have a very, very large program. And when the last session I was in, I heard somebody asking a question about, well, the logistics of this. We have a large program, so we grapple with that all the time. How do you institutionalize things when you are so large? We do in Texas, as everybody knows, have a pretty challenging state policy environment. Undergraduate degrees in education are against the law, as a matter of fact. You have to major in a content field. We're limited to 24 hours, credit hours of pedagogy is another example. And we are starting our third year of value-added measures where we're being held accountable for our students' performance on state assessments and so forth. We do have a very strongly field-based program. We've been doing that for 20 years, where our students have multiple field experiences before student teaching. So we have 22 different school partnerships, professional development school type configurations, where our students are practicing before student teaching. And we do also have undergrad and post-bac programs. Just to kind of show you how large we are, this was the first round of when we were getting our first data set on our VAM data. We suddenly were able to find out information that the state sort of held, and we could never learn things about where our teachers were. And so we learned that in this particular year, as the first year we were getting our VAM data, that we had 1,605 teachers in their first through third years of teaching. Of course, we don't know what happened to the other 1,600 of them that were probably certified and could have been out there teaching. But that's how many kids they affected, 78,534 kids that our students were having an impact on in this particular year. So it's a little bit overwhelming and startling, but then also just a reminder that, wow, what we're doing is so important. So it was good for us. This is just to show you that we have every certification level, so early childhood through secondary and all levels programs, and these are all the different disciplines that we certify teachers in. So we're very large and we're very broad in what we do. We were accredited in 2011 by TEAC, so of course now moving into CAEP, and our next slide really kind of sets the context for what we're doing with video. When we got our accreditation report, we had one weakness cited, and we do inquiry brief, so we were telling TEAC, we know this is our weakness, that we do not have a coherent plan to investigate the reliability and validity of all the program's assessments, nor has it developed the common student teaching assessment we feel it needs to adequately support our claims. So we weren't shocked by this, but it validated for us the direction that we'd been talking about that we needed to go into, and now, yes, we need to get this done. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the process that we used. We set as our goal is selection of a valid and reliable instrument for observing teaching performance. And so we had a faculty committee, spent a lot of time doing research on tools that were currently available. We presented all of this information to a big faculty forum for teacher ed faculty across our whole university, because teacher ed resides in every department where we get certified, people get certified, history, math, etc. They're involved with teacher education, so our forum was for across the university, and we got feedback from everyone that was at the forum, and we spent the whole year kind of trying to make this decision. What our faculty overwhelmingly decided was that we were going to settle on the Danielson framework for teaching, and that is one of the tools that you can use within the Teachscape, okay? So, just to let you know, this is the selection criteria that we used. Both the original committee, we called it the TOY committee, Teacher Observation Instruments, by the way. So we were looking at validity, local validity, how well does this meet our goals? Reliability, of course. We wanted an instrument that really focuses on how well students are learning and what students are doing, not just on what the teacher does. The feasibility, what kind of training options are there, and then how easy is it to use? Because we've all implemented stuff and then it's a nightmare and it falls apart because it's not practical. And especially on a large scale that we have, it has got to be user-friendly. Okay, so last year we started piloting the Danielson framework and using video to capture teaching performance and then analyzing with the Danielson framework. And we had 2 of our field-based blocks doing that, and then also our Teacher Fellows program. Okay, so here, now I'm going to share with you just some of the results that we have learned during this past year. It's been really interesting. So from the faculty who were doing the piloting, they really enjoyed the ease with which you could watch a performance on video and use a rubric for scoring that performance, but also making comments for this. You can mark places in the video and say, well, right here is a place where, remember we were talking about this in class, right here is a place that that was a golden opportunity for that kind of thing. They also commented on the power of the reflections that they were seeing from their students. One faculty member saying, I definitely see a change in the quality of those reflections, not just when students watch their own videos but when they go into the video library that's available on Teachscape, and there are videos of performance at every level on the framework, and students can go and see those as models for them. Faculty also really liked the training, which is pretty rigorous. If you're going to get certified to use the Danielson framework and have your assessments be considered valid and reliable, it's pretty rigorous training you have to go through to do that. But the faculty commented on how valuable that is to know that we will have that level of reliability now, that I can go in and watch somebody, and then someone else can go in and watch someone, and there's a pretty good chance that we're going to come to the same conclusions about that performance. So people were valuing that, and I wasn't sure that would be the case, but it was. We did have some connection and upload issues, and y'all know if you are doing field experience out in schools, you're going to have connection issues in your schools. School districts do not love for the university people to come in there and try to be on their networks. You know, and you just have to go through all kinds of things to get onto the school network, or go to Starbucks and upload your video. So those are just the kinds of things that you have to deal with if you are trying to work with video and capturing performance. Teachscape was very, very responsive. They've developed apps now, so you can upload directly through the app and things like that. So, and then what candidates have said, our students have said, they really value observing themselves and observing their peers. So in some cases, we have peer groups that watch each other's videos and make comments. And that process of reflecting is so much more powerful for them when they can watch themselves. You know, watching yourself on video is not new. As Jane Manning said, it's been around for as long as we've had video recorders. We're adding another layer of capability here. And then students commented about how powerful it was to be able to go into the video library and look at those models. We do have a clip that we wanted to show you, but the technology isn't going to allow us to do that. So streaming is hard. Streaming, and yeah, and it just sort of makes my point about the difficulty of that. But pretty astounding, 2 clips from one student that it showed her teaching like a read aloud lesson for a kindergarten class in February, and the kids are on the rug and they're like all crawling over each other, and she's kind of trying to teach and trying to get response from the kids, and you know, it's just kind of a mess. And then her reflection, she talks about, I know this is something that I need to work on, but also I really want my kids being more engaged in my lesson. I'm doing all the talking, and I want them doing more talking. So when you watch her second clip in April, and she's got it all together, you know, and she's using like, turn to your shoulder partner and talk about this. I'm going to give you 1 minute. And then she's signaling, and she's just doing all these things. Kind of an astounding difference. But she talks about in her second reflection how she had gone into the level 4, so the highest level on the Danielson framework, if you're familiar with that, the very proficient teachers, and I looked at what they were doing and was able to see, how do you get kids to be responsive and yet also manage that response? So it's pretty incredible. Okay, so here are some themes. We've just been analyzing the reflections that the students have done, students and faculty. So here's an example there. One of the themes from students is that when they watch the videos, their own and in the video library, the models, they felt validated for their own practice. So just go ahead and flip through these. it served as assurance to me that I'm doing a lot more right in my classroom than I give myself credit for. So that was one of the things. Okay, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. But then the other theme is just identifying areas for improvement. So here's where we see, this is actually the student in that clip, this first comment. I'm seeing that when I compare level 1 in the video library to levels 3 and 4, I'm seeing that there is so much more student engagement, and that's the difference. Charlotte Danielson really emphasizes to get to that highest level. It's not how great you are on the stage, but it is how much your students are learning and contributing to that. So we kind of see that theme all the way through. The bottom one, I noticed how some teachers would give a direction and then make sure the students comprehended it before they moved on. Like, okay, yeah, we did tell you that before, but seeing it makes all the difference. This one, and just go ahead and flip through these. These are about, this is another theme that we see over and over again in our students' reflections, is they notice the need for consistency. And isn't that one of the hardest things that you all find in getting across to students? But when they're able to see those models and sort of compare their own performance to those proficient teachers' performance, it really hits home to them. Okay, and then this is just what I call some aha moments. These are things that we teach from the very first day in our pedagogy classes, but now it's like they discovered this thing. Whoa, I didn't know. It's not just about the students being engaged in the lesson, but their minds being engaged in higher level thinking. Okay, and how many times would you use those words, higher level thinking? Aha, okay. Giving students choices for how they complete learning tasks is really important. So it's not they're parroting back things for a test. This is what they are now discovering and making real and making their own. Oh, okay, going on with a lesson when you don't have students' full attention is pointless? Hello. I think the teacher's attitude, voice, and body language conveys more than we actually realize. Students reflect our attitude and energy. Amazing. But that's real. That's not textbook learning. That's not parroting what my professor said. I have discovered this. It's very, very powerful. Here are some reflections from our faculty. Being able to read about the components and then actually observe teachers at different levels. That is what made all the difference. So the previous reflections were what our students were saying, but the faculty are noticing that same thing, the power of the student being able to make that comparison between their own performance and what the teachers at the different levels of performance are doing. That the videos also give a clear picture of what distinguishes an unsatisfactory and distinguished level of teaching performance. And they felt that the training was really valuable for that. That it helps reinforce the stuff that we've been teaching all the time. That when the students look at the higher levels of performance, they're seeing the same kinds of things that we're teaching them. They're seeing those teachers doing that. And this has really been my favorite thing, the last comment, is that we have more of a common language now. You know how education is. We just have terminology out the wazoo. And I don't know if y'all have seen that app where you can generate educational terms. Have you seen that? It just has like columns of words, and I can't remember what it's called, but you can click on the button and it like makes up a new educational term. It's hilarious. You really need to look for that. But we're pretty bad about that. But we have a common language now, and in a large program, that's really, really important. So what we're doing this year is Our student teaching supervisors were trained all summer and got certified to be observers of teaching performance. And they're completing their teaching observations right now as we speak for this round of student teaching supervisors. We were pretty scared when we met with them in May and said, okay, your summer homework is to watch hours and hours and hours of video and practice scoring until you get good at it. They all did it, and they all got certified. It was pretty amazing. And the other amazing thing is they really liked it. They really felt they had learned something valuable. And more results, they're all certified, and then this was the feedback they've given us about just the training aspect, because they're probably just this week doing their first round of observations. Generally, very positive response. Again, that value in the consistency, the benefits of the training came up over and over again. They did talk about their desire to kind of share with others because they were doing it in the summer and they didn't really have the ability to talk except to like their people they were already friends with. So trying to build in opportunity for people to discuss and share what they were learning as they were going through the training is something we're going to try to build in. And my question mark band there, that was band. I think this is something that all teacher ed programs are grappling with right now. How do you evaluate performance of all different kinds of teachers? So this was a supervisor for the music department saying, I'm just not sure how I'm going to do this with a band teacher. Okay, and you know, as we were getting our value added scores, you know, the only teachers who are getting rated in our value added, so the only teachers we're accountable for are those who teach reading and math in grades 3 through 8, because that's where we get state test data. Okay, so what about the PE teacher and the first grade teacher and everybody else? And so that's a question mark that we still have there. So what we're working on right now is faculty in the rest of the program figuring out where to implement this. So in what courses and where in the sequence is it appropriate to do what? What are the elements that go in human growth and development? What do we do right there? Okay, what do we do in a math methods class, for example? Those kinds of things. And of course, evaluating our impact. I just want to thank these folks who contributed student reflections and so forth. This PowerPoint is going to be up on the Teachscape website, correct? So I want to make sure I get my acknowledgments in here because I could not have done this presentation without them. Again, my email is here, and I think we've got maybe 3 minutes for questions.